We believe very strongly that UNRWA plays a critical role in producing life-saving assistance in the region.
Life-saving. So what we're going to do now is defund it. So that's our next play. And I'm about to show a clip of of our State Department spokesperson, and all of their gobbledygook word salads and bullshit they bring you. They bring to all of us. It's their gift to us, like one of those turd cannons that they spray in pig farms to put the fecal matter up in the air so it wafts around, so it doesn't just pool. That's kind of what a State Department spokesperson is, right? It's just one of those fecal matter cannons up into the air. They bring it to all of us. Let's see some clips from our good old State Department spokesperson Patel addressing the torture of UN staff, which it has now been revealed and confirmed that Israel has tortured UN staff in order to get that UN staff to point to other UN staff and say they were involved in October 7th. So Israel ultimately said 12 members of UN staff were involved in October 7th. Basically, all that's been debunked, or there's been no evidence of it actually to back it up. It's just Israel saying, we know it. That's what happened. But let's hear good old State Department spokesperson Patel has to say about it.
Originally talked about the allegations against the 12 staff. You had said that UNRWA itself was the one that forwarded those allegations along.
UNRWA is the UN organization, the relief organization that Israel wants to destroy. And when you say relief organization, it is not a small one. This is massive. It is 30,000 employees. It is over 700 schools they run in Palestine. It is over 9.2 million hospital visits for Palestinians every year, and tons of food. It is massive, and Israel's trying to crush it, and they successfully got the U.S. and other countries to withdraw funding from UNRWA. And Israel despises UNRWA, both because it helps Palestinians, but because it has the word refugee. The full name is United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestine Refugees in the Near East. It has the word refugees in the title. So Israel can't stand it because it is an acknowledgement by the UN that all these Palestinians, like 5 million or something, 2.3 million in Gaza, all these Palestinians are 1 out of 75, by the way, in Gaza have been murdered. So that's the numbers. Anyway, all these Palestinians are refugees, which when you say someone's refugees, that means they came from somewhere. And Israel doesn't want to acknowledge that because Israel stole all that land.
You said that you found them credible, but since then, UNRWA itself has said that its staff were tortured by Israel in order to get some of those confessions extracted. Does that change your view of the evidence that was presented by Israel? And if UNRWA was credible enough for you to believe the allegations the first time, is UNRWA credible enough when they make an allegation of torture against its staff?
So he's saying, well, does that, if you rely on them for that, shouldn't you rely on them when they say that their staff was tortured?
I've not seen that reporting, Ryan.
I brought you this the other day. They've never, anytime they're asked about something they disagree with, they've just never seen the report. They've never read anything. That's just, I have no idea.
But I will just note that we continue to find the allegations that were laid out a number of months ago to be credible. And we also welcome the swiftness.
By the way, he says we find them to be credible. They have not found them to be credible. They've actually found the opposite. They found that they can't actually verify that any UN staff were involved on October 7th. That's what actually has been found. Now, the U.S. will continue to say, but it could. Israel tells us that thing happened, and Israel's always reliable. They never lie. Also, he has completely dodged the key part of the question, which is, what about UN staff being tortured by Israel? That would be unprecedented for UN staff to be tortured by a country, and for the U.S. and many countries around the world to continue to support that. Oh, yeah, that's great. Yeah, torture UN. Why not?
This at which UNRWA informed not just the United States, but others about this, but also the swiftness in which the United Nations launched its own investigation mechanism and its own independent review. And we look forward to seeing those results. And
we look forward to, even though we've already withdrawn millions, hundreds of millions of dollars of funding from this organization, we look forward to the report that actually tells us whether any of this is true. You know, one day we might get that report. But in the meantime, let's just pull hundreds of millions of dollars from an aid organization. And I've always said, I said from the beginning of this, 12 members of UNWRA were involved in October 7th. I said from the beginning, even if that were true, that you had 12 crazy rogue members in UNWRA. It doesn't matter. It's a 30,000 person operation. If 12 dudes who work for Amazon rob a bank, you don't shut down Amazon. Not that I wouldn't want Amazon shut down, but you get my point. It's insane to say, oh, well, 12 people were involved. By the way, I think they've now decreased it to, we think 6 people were involved. But whatever. It's bananas. It is pure imperial insanity to just shut down a 30,000 person aid organization and cancel 9.2 million medical visits a year because we think 12 guys might have done something. Meanwhile, Boy Scouts of America still going strong, still there, even though they've had thousands of victims come forward from Boy Scouts of America, sexually assaulted victims. Boy Scouts of America still there. So haven't shut that down. That's going. Catholic Church is doing fine. Keeping that going. Doesn't matter, but 12 guys might have been involved on October 7th, so clearly shut down the entire aid organization.
Want these allegations thoroughly investigated so that there's clear accountability and measures put in place so this doesn't happen again. And we want all this to happen because we believe very strongly that UNWRA plays a critical role in producing life-saving assistance in the region, not just in Gaza, but the broader Middle East as well.
Okay, to me, that sentence actually is the most key sentence of this entire idiocy. We believe that UNWRA plays a critical role to life-saving aspects of the Palestinian population. Life-saving. So what we're going to do now is defund it. That's that's our next play. Defund the thing that I have just said is life-saving for millions of people. Let's defund it. That's the best way to go forward. Absolutely.
They are vital players when it comes to food, medicine, shelter, and other humanitarian support.
Your position, which is in opposition, as they said, to so many allies around the world, has encouraged Congress to move forward with a ban. There's now an agreement between some Democrats and some Republicans to continue the ban, I think, throughout the rest of the year.
So he's talking about ban on funding. So this idiot up at the podium says this is a life-saving organization for millions of people. Food, medicine, schools, so many other aspects. And we support defunding it.
Is that something that the State Department would support, tying the State Department's hands, even if the report comes back?
You've heard me talk about this before broadly when it comes to the supplemental bill that is being negotiated in Congress. These are active and ongoing things that are happening, so I'm not going to go down a rabbit hole too much. But broadly,
his whole job is to talk about ongoing things that are happening. That is the whole job description. Stand up at that dumb podium and talk about things that are happening. What are you? From here on out, State Department's only going to talk about things that aren't happening anymore. Things that it's mainly going to talk. It's mainly the 1980s. We have press conferences about the 1980s, Reagan administration mostly. But yeah, anything that's currently happening, not going to discuss. His whole job is to discuss things that are actively happening.
We support the contours of this supplemental bill. We believe that it is vital for.
We support the supplemental bill of making sure to no longer fund UNWRA while we say they are a life-saving aid organization. I just wanted to point out that I can't take that State Department spokesperson seriously ever, because I'm pretty sure he's the manservant from What We Do in the Shadows, the vampire show. Pretty sure that's him. The vampire familiar from What We Do in the Shadows. Absolutely. And I'm glad he got another job. I mean, it's, cleaning the bed linens for vampires. Although it's kind of the same job, isn't it? I didn't realize that. He's basically doing the same job, cleaning bed linens for vampires. That's absolutely what he still does.